Good. Good. You ready, Kevin?
This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided. This meeting of November 18, 2024 was published in the Courier News and Star Ledger and placed on the borough's website. Notice of this meeting was also placed on the bulletin board at Borough Hall. A copy of this notice is available to the public, and a copy of this statement shall be included in the minutes of this meeting. Mayor Brian Gallagher.
Here.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Here.
Glenn Denny,
Here.
Tom Mitchell,
Here.
Randy Pitts,
Here.
Gina Stravic,
Here.
Roger Vroom.
Here. Please stand for the salute to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I have a motion for approval of the minutes of October 21 and November 4?
So moved. Second?
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Tom Mitchell,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, departmental reports and notices. We have the general election results. We also have the reorganization meeting, which is now scheduled for January 1, 2025 at noon. And right now, I believe, Kevin, we are at the high school, correct?
That is correct, Mayor.
Okay, great. Okay, next up, we have a proclamation that I'd like to present. And I'm going to go down here and ask Harold Willard to come forward. So back in, I think it was 2001, when I was first elected as a councilman, it was a parade day. And I forget which parade it was, but this young man comes up to me, and he's dressed very handsomely in a sailor's outfit. And it was Mr. Willard. And we took a picture of that, and he presented me with a picture afterwards. And I keep that at home, and I look at it almost every day, which I love. It's just a wonderful, wonderful photo. Over the course of the ensuing 24 years, Harold's been and his wife Linda have been a fixtures in the Somerville community. And not only participating, but also adding to the culture of Somerville. And I have a proclamation that I'd like to present to you because of all of the wonderful work that you've done. Why don't you come around this way so that everybody can see you? Okay. So this is proclaiming November as Native American Heritage Month in the Borough of Somerville. Whereas during National Native American Heritage Month, we celebrate indigenous peoples' history in the United States as defined by strength, survival, and a deep commitment to and pride in their heritage, right to self-governance, and ways of life. Native peoples have built and sustained powerful tribal nations, and the knowledge they developed still benefits us today. And whereas there are nearly 600 federally recognized tribes in the United States with a vast array of cultures that are unique from artwork and literature to cuisine and music. And whereas the commemorative month of November enables the opportunity to learn about Native American heritage and provides an opportunity to educate federal, state, county, and local officials about the concerns and history of Native Americans, and we should all join them in recognizing the critical role that Native Americans played in the vitality of our country. Whereas Harold and Linda Willard, residents of Somerville Borough, have become strong advocates for recognizing Native American culture. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Brian Gallagher, Mayor of the Borough of Somerville, along with the Borough Council, hereby proclaim November 2024 as National Native American Heritage Month, and I urge all Americans to celebrate November 29th as Native American Heritage Day. Thank you. So my first introduction to Harold and Linda and Native American culture, a good introduction to it, was at Father Ron's church. And Harold had this vision of, he goes, I'm having a powwow. I go, okay. And he goes, you have to come. And I said, okay, I'll be there. So I had other things lined up for that day, and I planned on staying for, a half hour, because sometimes you got to hit and run. So I walked in, and I stayed for about 4 hours. It was absolutely one of the most fascinating things I have ever been a part of. It was unbelievable. And then you transform that into events on Division Street.
Yes.
And I think it's just a wonderful testament to you, to your wife, and to the Native American culture. And we thank you for being a part of our Somerville.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. John,
Here.
my wife Linda, come here.
So now my understanding is that you have something to present to the borough.
Yes. Let me just say
Sure.
that.
Before
Right
the
into
pre-
this.
Yeah, before the
Let me
presentation,
just say something. The reason why Linda's my wife, and we're matriarchal people, and that means that women are very important to us. And so this is why Linda is reading this statement here, because she is my wife, and she's been very influential in the Native American community, helping us to establish knowledge of ourselves here in Somerville. Go ahead, Linda.
before the presentation, before the presentation, we would like Wayne Duncan to have the Thanksgiving address prayer in the language of our people, which is Cherokee.
On the spot. I was there. Okay, so greetings, relatives. Everybody in this room. When we pray on ceremonies in different places, we always say all my relations. And a lot of people think we're just talking about Cherokee or Choctaw or whatever. We're talking about all of us on this planet. It's a balance. Creator's given us this right to be alive and take care of each other. And before I do this prayer, I just want to say that my Uncle Harold's been a great influence for me my whole ride. My dad was a Marine in South Pacific World War II, and he was a homicide detective in Brooklyn, and he died at 49, had appendicitis. So we thought it was the flu, and so we lost him. But my uncle kind of took up the slack. He gave me that. He gave me that foundation, and I've been sober my whole life, and try to walk right every day. And Somerville is it's an amazing place. We've been here, and I just had to tell that story because we've been here in this amazing town. And I live in Sag Harbor, and Sag Harbor and Somerville have a lot of similarities and just people being together. Doesn't matter what color you are, whatever, it's just we work together. And we need this as human beings. We got to look out for each other. We got to love each other. This is the whole important thing. My cousin Peace walking in another Cherokee. Cherokee's taking over. Hey, Peace. So I had to say these words because, a lot of times when we come to events, and I'm wearing my tuxedo. I'm wearing a Cherokee turban, eagle feathers, and because my uncle means that much to me, I had to bring out our truth and how we walk. And I'm here with my better half, Nancy. She's a Cherokee and a lot of fun to be with. So, and we all matriarchal. We listen to the women all the time. That's just the way it is. And we don't ask no questions. But Linda and Harold have been such an amazing influence right here in Somerville. Just working with different teams and seeing leadership in the community. Just excited to be around Native people. And we've done some great things right here in this community. So I'm here tonight. And my uncle wants me to speak in the language, and I'm gonna do it. And at the end, I'm gonna sing an honor song for everybody in the room, because we're all together. Just remember, like when we say all my relations, we're talking about all of us. It doesn't matter whether we're Italian or Japanese, or what. It's like this globe that we live on, this planet. We need more foundational love and bringing us together. And I'm a Cherokee to bone. I speak pretty good. So I'm speaking the language right now, and forgive me if I'm a little nervous, but it's an honor to be around this guy right here. He's a class act. You know, we both work with the Navy and do a lot of great things for the country. And I'm looking at my brother Bart right there, and like I'm emotional right now. So I'm gonna give you all this in the language, and I hope that you can understand it. I'll explain it in English after I'm done. So it's a prayer for all of us. Unela nunki aya atayo hi ha astedi ha ayan adalisia alihedigan galunk loi olinigida o stanunk woti wado onela nunki gon no e Unela nunki aya atayo hi ha astedi ha ayan adalisia alihedigan Udo sunk no ahi Udo sunk no ahi olinigida o stanunk woti wado onela nunki gon no e Unela nunki aya ataya hiha steliha ayan andalisia aliheligan. Nunk da uninigida osta nunk woti wadon. Unela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan. Elohi ag ulinigida osta nunk woti wadon. Unela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan osta ama egwoni ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon anela nunki gon no e o nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan ajila ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon unela nunki gon no e O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan adalisia aliheligan. Gada ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon unela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan adalisia aliheligan. And nunca ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon unela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan adalisia aliheligan. Asadi ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon anela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan. And ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon anela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan. Ani sankli ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon anela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan. So la ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon unela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan. Ganun noa ulinigida osta nunquo ti wadon unela nunki gon no e. O nela nunki aya ataya hiha asteliha ayan andalisia aliheligan. Delona gay o hali olinigida osta nunquo ti wadon anela nunki gon no e. Gange you ga osti on the dot ne wadon osta higa oska so no e ski. So that was in the language in the Eastern band or Eastern dialect. You know, we always kind of brag because we the homegrowns. We never left North Carolina. Like people went on the Trail of Tears, but we did, and our families but still remained in North Carolina. So we always kind of laugh about that because the Oklahoma Cherokees, they always brag about, you know, we're from Tahlequah and we signed a peace treaty and all that. Well, hey, we never left. You know, we stayed in North Carolina and Virginia, and you know, so it's just we kind of pride about that. So I wanted to give that to y'all, and what it's saying. We talk about the first thing is the sky, you know, the heavens, and that's the first thing as a prayer. And then we talk about the Earth Mother, you know. Aihi is the moon, the grandmother moon, which has given us everything. We had that full moon. The tide's really high. Like yesterday, it was amazing, but we had that amazing moon. We call it that beaver moon. So these things are important. And, you know, we talk about the water, the fire, Ajila. I talked about the fire and the water. So all these things are relevant to life. So when we say, Gange you, go usti on the dot, I'm saying to all my relations, I'll give you all my love and my medicine. So that was a prayer in Cherokee, and I was pretty good at it. Hope it was good at it for you. I'll be back.
The painting is going to be presented to the mayor and the council. And the artist is right here, John Bonari. And the painting is of Bart Cartwright, who is Delaware Lenape.
Welcome back, bro.
I don't know if I need that or not.
Well, for the audience, actually for TV.
Oh, okay. So anyway, I'm going to say Wanishi, 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 Kishalamaka, our creator of all things, that's given us this time to relish this time with this painting that you have gifted me. And I would like to thank the borough and all the members, the council members here, and also to Harold and Linda for inviting me to last year to perform my traditional dance in the city of Somerville. And it was truly an honor to have John Gennari paint a portrait for promoting the awareness we are still here. During the Native American Heritage Month, this was done last year. So anyway, I want to say also how ironic to have this portrayal done for me during this celebration of 100 years that the Congress has enacted for us to have a Citizenship Act in June of 1924. And we just want to point that out, where the Native American is celebrating for our citizenship, to being with you all. But it's just ironic to me. I mean, we've been here for a long time. I don't know why they made that citizen that. I think it was because it got government thing, or you know. But anyway, it was. I just want to let you know that's what has been done. So, and I also want to gift Harold an eagle feather. Take care of yourself. All right.
So
We don't have too long being here, but when we are still here.
we're still here.
Yep. And this is what this is all about. We are still here, and I want to thank you guys for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. We say Wanishi. Wanishi.
This is the painting. Let me hold that for a second.
Certificate on the back.
That's the box. It's on the back of the certificate. And this is being presented to you, Mayor Gallagher and the council.
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. So I'm going to show the council first.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
Thank you.
And for the public. You know, you see so many iconic images of Division Street, and there's always this scape of the buildings.
Yeah.
But to have this image in that scape of the buildings is very, very unique. And I think it's just wonderful, and this will take a very prominent place up in Borough Hall.
All right. Right.
This is wonderful. Thank you so much. So to Harold and
John, thank you very much.
So to Harold and Linda, thank you. Continue doing what you do. I look forward to next year.
Okay.
To the artist, unbelievable. And to the subject matter, well done.
I'm in a couple movies too.
And how do I say thank you?
Wanishi.
And to all out there, Wanishi,
It's in Delaware language.
Delaware language. Okay. And how do you say that in Cherokee?
Thank you.
Yes.
Ski is that's homegrown.
Yeah. So I'm going ski.
North Carolina, you say Waddell, they think that he came from down here.
Yeah. That is. It really is beautiful. It really is.
Really nice.
So thank you. This is unbelievable. What a great addition to Borough Hall. Thank you. Thank you.
Wayne, do you want to do the honoring song now?
So this is I'm 67 and I'm the drum keeper of a drum group called Young Blood Singers. So we've been in Somerville a few times. Our drum came down and provided the music for my uncle. So it's an honor to come here and sing this honor song, and you know it's for all of us. So we usually stand up on the honor song if you can. If you can't, it's okay. And this is for our council. You guys look sharp, man. I think we need to put y'all in the White House. Man. Yeah, for real. Yo. What? Oh, I got a turban on with eagle feathers. Oh, you can remove your hats there if you have hats on. I have an eagle feather in my turban, so I thought you told me to take my hat off. I'm like, he Cherokee. So this is for everybody in the room. We sing it 4 push-ups, so he's gonna get four starts. And forgive me, you know, my crew's not here. He's a singer too, Peace, but he's gonna let me rock it out. So here we go. Oh, ya take ya, wa mayaka po, name eno, la kota ke, ota watami eno, hello tie, waki hey Oh, ya take ya, wa mayaka po, name eno, la kota ke, ota watami eno, hello tie, waki Oh, ya take ya, wa mayaka po, name eno, akota ke, ota watami eno, hello tie, waki Hado, hado, tia, waki, hado, hado. So just remember this. This is my motto. Remember this. The most powerful medicine, unbelievable medicine, love. So tomorrow when you go out, find somebody you don't know and just walk up to them. Tell them I love you. We'll work together as human beings. That's what this Turtle Island is. That's what America is. It's working together. So Waddell, Uncle, thank you. Thank you. Hope I make you proud, bro. Thank you all for listening.
That was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Thank you all so much. All right, folks, we're going to continue on with our council meeting. But again, I want to thank Harold and Linda and all of the participants today, including the artist as well. Just a wonderful addition to our Somerville. Very awesome. So thank you so much. Ski. Ski. It's not the last time I'm going to use that this week. All right, let's go into committee reports. Tom.
Yes, Mayor. The Abraham Stats House is going to be having a program on Saturday, December 7th at 1 o'clock. A special performance of the Madrigal Singers of Franklin Township High School. The house will be open at 12:30 for seating. The house will remain open from 1 till 4 as an open house. You can come explore the house, festively decorated for the holidays by members of the Friends of Abraham Stats House. Enjoy seasonal sights and sounds as you tour the rooms of this historic house. Live music and light refreshments. That's Saturday, December 7th from 1 to 4, and Sunday, December 8th, also from 1 to 4. The house will be open house. It is free. Donations are accepted. It is located at 17 Von Steuben Lane, which is off of Main Street in southbound Brook. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Tom. Gina.
The Board of Health meets Wednesday. They are working on programming for 2025. The Somerville Rescue Squad had a 9/11 trip, a trip to the 9/11 Memorial, which was pretty amazing. There were 5 members there who were at Ground Zero post 9/11. So it was a moving time for everyone involved. Also, good news for the rescue squad. They've initiated about 4 new members. So if anyone's interested in joining the squad, now's a great time. They'll be doing some training in the new year. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Gina, anytime the squad wants to bring the new members in and swear them in here, I think that might be a nice thing to do.
Sure thing.
Yeah, great,
Let 'em
thank you. All right, thanks. Glenn.
Thank you, Mayor. So for the Environmental Commission, we met last week. We had some guests. The members of the Somerville High School Environmental Club attended, as well as our local New Jersey Watershed ambassador to help us with some programming ideas. We discussed lots of different things, but primarily we talked about how to support the Wallace House and the Old Dutch Parsonage as they plan some restoration landscaping projects. Also, a reminder to join that Somerville High School Environmental Club for a cleanup. This Saturday, the 23rd, they'll meet at Brooks Field at 10 a.m. and spread out to help clean up some of the local areas. Environmental Commission has no meeting scheduled for December, but hopefully we'll see you on January 14th, 2025 at 7 p.m. right here. And then for the fire department, busy time. First of all, just a reminder that due to all the drought conditions, there is a continued ban on fires, including fire pits, chimeneas, and charcoal barbecue grills. Only elevated electric or gas grills are permitted at this point. In happier news, the Holiday Lights Parade is coming on Saturday, December 7th. We'll be starting at dusk, approximately 6 p.m., so come out and see that. And then you still have a little bit of time if you'd like to participate in the Somerville Santa program. Don't want to give too much away, but by all means, please look on their website, Facebook, or Instagram so that you can drop off your gifts by November 30th and participate in that program. And then, I don't know if you're going to allude to it either, but the tours of the emergency services facility are continuing. This Saturday, you can sign up online as well.
Great. Thank you. Teresa?
Thank you. The Municipal Alliance and Youth Services Commission did not meet this month, but we were given some homework to do, which was to watch a movie called The Upstanders. It's a documentary about cyberbullying. It's a wonderful documentary. I've only watched the trailer so far, but I'm looking forward to watching the whole thing. You can find the trailer on YouTube, and we encourage anyone who has children, is a teacher or a student, to watch it. The Somerville Public Library has some programs coming up this week and next. On the 20th at 10 a.m., the notary open hours are going to be available in the main reading room. So if you need anything notarized, please bring it on the 20th at 10 a.m. The 23rd at 1 p.m., there's going to be Create Thanksgiving greeting cards for teens ages 12 and up in the young adult room. And November 26th at 10:30 a.m., English conversation group for adults in the program room. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Randy?
Thank you, Mayor. With the DSA doing their budget presentation tonight, I have no more announcements.
And Roger?
Certainly. Just as a reminder, the Turkey Trot will happen on Thanksgiving morning. Online registrations will remain open until November 21st. On the morning of the Turkey Trot, cash only will be accepted. It is an amazing event. If you haven't participated before, we welcome you to come and give it a shot. It's a great 5K, and it's a great way to start your Turkey Day off. If you so celebrate, you know, get in a little bit of workout and get rid of some calories so you have room for more. So come on down. It'll be at right at Veterans Memorial Drive, right at Engine Company. So come on out Thanksgiving morning. And again, if you haven't already done so, I think we have close to 1,000 participants
That's awesome.
currently signed up. So be one of those, sign up. And again, the last day to sign up online is the 21st.
Great. All right, thank you. Just dovetailing off of what Glenn had mentioned, we held a tour of our emergency services facility this past Saturday between 10 and noon, and we had upwards of about 100 people come and tour. We will be doing the same again this weekend, this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Tours take about 20 to 30 minutes each, and I think we got 6 tours off during the morning last week. So if you are so inclined, the response has been overwhelmingly positive of the new facility. Please come out, have a look, and I think you'll be impressed. With that, next up we have the budget introduction for the Downtown Somerville Alliance. Chaz Stevens, the chair of the DSA, is here, along with the director, Olivia Manning, and obviously Main Street is, and when I say Main Street, I also mean the streets off of Main Street as well. Everything within the DSA district is the economic engine of our borough. If that economic engine isn't working, it has a very negative effect. If it's working extremely well, it has a really wonderful effect. And over the last 15, 20 years or so, we've seen the wonderful positive effect that an effective downtown association has on commerce, on activities, on social life, and obviously also on the economics for everybody involved. So with that, I will turn it over to Olivia and have at it. You know, actually, press the button on your mic. Is it red? There you
Now
go.
it is.
There you go. Okay.
Hello. Oh, yeah,
Yes,
there it is.
you're
Okay.
live.
All right. We are live. So further to what Mayor was actually just saying, downtown districts are crucial for not just uplifting our local economy, but instilling pride in the people that reside here and the people that visit and the folks that have their businesses here. So it is our job to support all of those people in as many ways as we possibly can. Now, obviously, we can't do everything. We can't please everyone, but we sure do try the best that we can. So with that, I'm going to do the best that I can also to go quickly as per Mayor's instructions, but I'm going to do my best. So it's really important to note the context before we go into all the fun things like numbers, the context to which we are making a little bit of a shift this year. We started with creating a strategy, and we did that not just on our own and not just with our own ideas, but with the support of Main Street New Jersey and Main Street America, a national program. We had visitors from Main Street America come and help us collaborate and work with a lot of information. In fact, you do have with you their report, their final report on their visit here. Based on some components that we put into building our strategy. That includes over 400 surveys we delivered back in August to just the Somerville community and any folks that were visiting that caught wind of the survey, and as well as a bunch of data points from location tracking systems and GIS mapping. And then we had some businesses also weigh in on some of their content. Just for additional context here, based on the numbers that we've explored, the numbers are quite concerning as far as visits to the district. Obviously, 2020 dropped significantly, and 2021 was the year of what has been named revenge travel. So folks could not wait to get out and just go and be elsewhere, anywhere but home. Yep. So obviously that giant spike is as a result of that. But as you can see, even though there were positive numbers, the visitation to the district has declined quite a bit. And over this last year has gone into the negative numbers. So we are really focusing on making sure that we bring those numbers back up. And it's not just for the idea of bringing numbers up, but because that means more people would be coming to the district as a result. I'm not going to go into these points specifically, just in an effort of time, but it's important to note that Main Street America has a 4-point approach that they've been doing since 1979. So for 40 plus years, they've been putting a process together that has been working in towns all over the country. So it's not like we're here reinventing the wheel. We're following through a program and a process, focusing on these key areas of revitalizing a downtown to focus our programming. In addition to that, Main Street has 6 standards that help us stay on track and help us check the boxes and making sure that we're doing what we need to be doing to be successful. So these 6 standards, again, I'm not going into all of them in detail, are annually assessed by us. We have a self-assessment that's required by national that we have to submit every year. And yes, that is something that has been submitted apparently in the last few years, but we really want to focus on making sure that it's being done correctly and not just a question of checking a box. So that being said, with our inputs, with Main Street America and Main Street New Jersey assisting us as well as our data points, we have come up with a strategy outlook for the next few years, and these are high-level strategy components that we'll be focusing on. And the purpose, again, is to rebuild some pride into the downtown, to encourage the businesses to feel like we can support them, and to rebuild some trust in the DSA as well. Oh, my content got a little messed up, but that's okay. You have printed versions in front of you. That's what happens when you're on a Mac and then you go to a PC. So for our first strategy, and these are no particular order, there's not one that's more important than the other. They will go hand in hand as much as we are able to, is reconnecting our community. And doing this by helping our businesses be able to connect with their customers, doing more experience-based marketing, what kinds of things can you do when you're here, and then empowering the community to participate in volunteer programs and having more of a nonprofit approach, which is what we are, a C3 nonprofit, to doing all the work that we do. Empowering our entrepreneurs is more than just encouraging people to go shop local. While that, of course, is certainly part of what we do, it's going to be reworking our events to focus on getting them more exposure. As much as it's a nice thing to do when you have an ice skating rink in the middle of a main street, they're ice skating and they're not visiting the businesses. So sometimes some things are a little extra that may not be necessary and don't really satisfy what you're looking to do. And there's a lot of other fun ways that you can encourage folks to walk around town. We also will be focusing on building more sponsorships and having more engagement from organizations that are not necessarily in the district, but also want to be a part of our amazing community, and focusing also on making sure we keep those dollars within the downtown. And then finally focusing on gathering space refresh. Know that Butterfly is not in Somerville, and yes, that is my 5-year-old, but it is a very sweet concept to consider because folks love to take photos and they love to share on social media. And so when they're here, they get excited, and when they get excited, they tell their friends. And when they tell their friends, more people come to downtown. So focusing on projects like continuing on the plan that was created last year with arterial, and focusing specifically on Giardina Walkway and Division Street to enhance lighting, for cleanup, and a number of other safety components is really going to be our next step in getting those plans put together. So that's going to be really important for us to focus on moving forward. I will get to some of the other, hopefully the graphics are not all messed up, but we are also considering something like a curb appeal program where that can empower the business to choose something to help beautify their space in some way, shape, or form in the front of their business. So if they have a broken flower pot or if they have something else that they need assistance with, we can evaluate whatever that is and help them get it done. And that can include upgrading a small spot of a sidewalk or some other component that is deterring folks from being able to get to their business. Okay. Whew. So it's important to note our revenue sources have not really changed too significantly over the last couple of years. However, I do want to mention that the $200,000 line item for grants that we would be receiving, $50,000 of that we have already been awarded.
Good.
Yes, with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. They have their asset activation grant, and it is specifically for planning purposes. So we will be working on those architecture plans with Arterial for Giardina and Division Street with some of that funding. And then in addition to that, there's $150,000 from the state of New Jersey with Main Street, New Jersey, that will be opening up hopefully sometime in the late winter, maybe early spring. That is a $150,000 grant. It is first come, first serve. So the moment that opens, we are putting it in. So this is money that is very close to guaranteed that we are either A, are receiving, or B, will be earning as the months progress. Okay. Definitely didn't translate over. Anyway, so for our economic vitality component, these are some of the programs in the center here that we wanted to focus on specifically upcoming. Building an educational hub for our businesses to access at any time. So obviously that would be a digital component, and having additional resources available to them. Last week we had a session with the Somerset County Business Partnership, and we offered them, I know Councilwoman Stravic was there as well. We had a grants session where some businesses could understand what grants are available to them and what kind of funding really is actually there for them for the taking. So more things like that to really help the businesses get educated on how to grow and thrive. And then there's some photos here of having grand openings and supporting businesses to grow, and then connecting with each other as well, because I know the businesses have mentioned a few times to me already that connecting with each other changes the dynamic of how they operate in the downtown. They find each other as coworkers rather than competitors, and it's really important that we continue to try to connect them together so that they can feel that pride as well. This is so disappointing. In our promotions category, our events are, especially some of our more signature events, are most certainly going to keep going. We are going to focus on having the events pay for themselves as much as possible with enhanced sponsorship, any additional grants that we can apply for and earn throughout the year. Excuse me. In addition to that, we are refocusing some of the events. One, for example, We have the vendor fair at the beginning of June. Rather than it just be a bunch of vendors on the street, incorporating more of what we just saw, some more cultural components, highlighting food, music, entertainment, in addition to the vendoring component, to really bring about that pride in the community and have more folks attend. So it's going to be really important for us to make sure that the events do what they need to do and not just doing it just because somebody said it was a good idea. It needs to be intentional, like most of our programming. In addition to that, we'll be focusing on doing some advertising and promotions that are, again, experience-based, so people can understand what it's like to come to downtown if they've never been here before. And again, getting folks excited. I'm skipping over a lot. And finally here, well, not finally, I'm sorry. The organization component is something that's relatively newer for the DSA, and focusing on that volunteer component, getting a program together, having folks wear a DSA shirt that says, ask me about how you can make this event happen next year, or something along those lines, so that they can have conversations and the community can get involved as much as possible to then expand on that excitement over the years. And then from event to event, program to program, more volunteers can participate and then bring it into the community even more. So there is a small dollar amount associated with this component, but that's because most of this is going to be generating revenue, not so much taking it and using it for various things. So that's not a lot is involved with getting this off the ground. Now, last but not least, our design component, focusing on refreshing some furniture. I noticed our summer furniture is a little weathered, no pun intended, and needs a little bit of love and attention. So some things like that need to be reviewed and ensure that we kind of get things looking fresh again. Again, the curb appeal component to really assist our businesses with taking what they have and just simply making it better, or helping them with ideas and what to do, because some folks just simply may not know. So being able to help in any way we can is going to be important. And then, of course, maintaining our landscaping and our district cleanup as we normally have done. And yes, Becky is right behind me as well. She's our marketing coordinator. We are down one more person, and we are looking for a new associate director. However, your team is here as well, and we're here to be just as much of a resource as the rest of the programs that we've just spoken about. So it's not just about people doing a job, it's about really caring for our district and being here if people need us for various reasons. So, to recap, lovely numbers. These are essentially the numbers that we're looking at for this year. It is bringing us over the $1 million mark, but does include the fundraising components that we mentioned earlier as well. Anything I'm leaving out? No, we're good. I'm on a roll. Okay. We can go back to this if need be. And I just wanted to make a little bit of a comparison with last year's numbers, because a lot of those numbers are a little bit skewed from last year, so I didn't include it in any of the budget numbers that you have in front of you. However, the blue line here are our totals for 25, and the orange line is last year's numbers. So as you can see, our events, our promotional campaigns are growing a little bit. Our economic vitality is being coupled in with our promotional campaigns, so it seems like it's lower, but at the same time, our promotions are going to be part of that. Design and beautification and our streetscape support, I have separated that out, and the main reason for that is our streetscape support are non-negotiables. Whereas design beautification, if something happens for any reason, we have another pandemic, something serious is going on and needs attention, we can shift those funds to where it's needed most if required, but hopefully that won't be the case. And then, of course, management, we are growing because you don't have a part-time director. And, office support has come down just a little bit, and making sure that we can do what we need to do efficiently. And now, was that 7 minutes? Did I do it? Did you count? I didn't check. My mouth is parched. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
Well, thank you. That was a very focused, thorough presentation, which I like. So, questions, council? Comments?
I have a comment. Personally, I'd like to thank the DSA board, Olivia, Chaz, Kevin. Thank you for getting things back on track, and I love where we're headed. Love all the work you're doing, and thank you.
Thank you.
Other comments?
I did have a question. You showed the downturn in visits. What is that? Do you think that's, thanks. Downturn in visits, I saw on the screen. What do you attribute that to?
There could be a number of factors. Obviously, the economy has been shifting. It's hard to tell. I personally haven't been here, but the visits are declining because maybe there's not certain types of businesses here that people want to see. Perhaps the events aren't as well attended because they're kind of dry and need more attention or something different. There could be a number of reasons. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to really know for sure.
So you've done a lot of assessments. Do you have that as an assessment tool coming up?
Is that anything that we talked about in our previous?
Well, the Main Street America report that we distributed along with the budget documents did go through some of the survey results, both from merchants and residents. It did identify a number of different types of businesses that folks are missing. For example, something like 60% of the respondents want a bookstore, which definitely draws a lot of foot traffic. There was also some interesting results when it came to when folks would like to come to town, regardless of whether or not the business was open. You know, if you could make the schedule, when would you come? And there was an awful lot of folks who want to come on a Sunday, and a lot of our downtown merchants are not open on Sunday. So we're trying to spread that word that the customers are there if you'll just be open.
So I have two other things to share. Just before COVID, I sat on a committee with the Recreation Department. They had gotten a national parks grant. I don't know, you probably remember, Kevin. And they did an assessment of how the parks were vital to the community and how we could use the Greenway with signage from the Greenway to the downtown, promoting Bike to Somerville, promoting, outdoor experiences and so on. So I think I get the impression after COVID, we kind of, that study just got put on a shelf. So I would hope maybe Kathy could get it over to them and find that. And the other thing is we just last week had a walk downtown with RideWise. I asked Olivia if we could set that up because it's part of work that we've done with the Environmental Commission in terms of street assessments. And I've been highly concerned about the lack of safety on the streets and the walking, and we've gone back and forth with the trees. But regardless, I hope there's money in your budget to start to address just simple maintenance, not even tree related, but simple maintenance of dangerous areas. I would encourage that highly.
Thank you. I will say that is most certainly going to be a collaborative effort and something that we've talked about at length as well. It's something I've noticed that a lot of folks don't really know who's responsible. The borough's supposed to do it, or the property owner's supposed to do it. Well, it's a DSA's responsibility. So rather than constantly having that circular motion with nothing happening, it's going to be really important for us to all get together and make a plan and be intentional about how we're actually repairing the sidewalks and taking care of the trees and doing all the things, because it's important to us as well. I mean, just Friday nights in the middle of summer, there's so many people walking around, and the accessibility, it's a challenge. So it's definitely on the top of our minds. With PSE&G coming in the first half of next year and all of the recuperation that we're continuing to do and making sure that we're doing the right things, I think continuing to have those conversations and making that plan tangible and workable rather than just saying, oh, well, it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. We don't know if we're going to do it right now. We need to come up with something together that's going to make sense. Our friends earlier said it. We are a family one way or another, and we all have to work together in all of this to make it happen. So that's going to be really important for us to do, so that there's no us responsible, them responsible, because there's property owners that have already cleaned up some of their sidewalk repairs. And so if we start to just dish out some money, then those folks are going to say, oh, well, you didn't help us. And, so we need to make sure that we're very intentional and strategic to make sure that we are doing the right things for the right reasons.
Great. Any others? So just a couple of comments. One,
Yes.
Again, thank you for a very focused and direct presentation. I love the fact that you've increased events, I think, pretty significantly. Events are what brings feet to the street. That's why people come. If you make it fun, enjoyable, interesting, they will come, and that will then also allow the stores to thrive. It's a good thing. Gina, I would like to see that report that was done, because I think wayfinding and signage is critical, and how we interconnect Main Street with our historical areas, also with our greenway areas. It's just, it's something that we have that nobody else does. And it's this interconnectivity that is all over town that really, there's people who don't know we have a Petersbrook Greenway. And how we can incorporate that with downtown, and really, it starts to make something. I think it's kind of cool. The downturn, I don't know either. I look at it, I think part of it is events. I really do. The idea of cut and paste from year to year to year does start to get tired. When we began, we had concerts Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. And it was this very diverse music that would come. And then we had a Native American festival. So it's creating these very different events that allow all sorts of people to gravitate to Somerville. And I think that's what makes it exciting and different and unique. And if we can recreate a little bit of that, which I think you're doing in your budget here, I think that's really important. So I think I know we've had some struggles over the past 2 years, and I know that the DSA board has worked really hard to kind of right the ship, and you've done that. So thank you for doing that, both of you. Thank you very much, and thank you, Kevin. And thanks to the entire board. I know the board worked very hard at getting things back into focus. And it's a great presentation, so thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have to act on this? Do we have to affirm?
Yeah, so auditor requires us to, it's kind of the same way as a budget process. So the board has introduced this budget. The governing body would have to affirm the budget by a vote. And then the board has to adopt the budget at its next meeting, and we'll have to confirm the adoption as well.
So we just do it by a motion or resolution?
If you could
Because I don't see a resolution on here.
No, you could do a motion, second, and a roll call vote, and that'll get logged into the minutes for an affirmation of the introduction.
Perfect.
Aren't they a separate nonprofit corporation?
They are,
Sort of.
Councilwoman, but due to the fact that a large amount of money comes from the taxpayer, being those particular assessed properties, it's always been a little odd. But since it's set up as an SID the way it is, that the auditor does require, I think one day maybe that'll be a conversation we have with the auditor, but in the meantime, we'd like to stay within compliance of the auditor's request.
I think it's a good thing to do. I think it's good oversight. And it's more so than oversight, it's cooperation. And it's an understanding of where the council's vision of Somerville and Main Street is going along with the DSA. So, do we have a motion to affirm?
Moved.
Second?
Discussion. Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Tom Mitchell.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. Thanks. Okay, I'll ask for a motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denis.
Yes.
Tom Mitchell.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, public portion is now open. Please state your name and address for the record, and please address your comments to me. Just step up to the microphone.
Okay, good evening. I wanted to first start off by saying my appreciation for the council and mayor. Local government is so beneficial that you can have such good communication with the community in so many ways, and that's why local government is underrated in my opinion, because we're all neighbors in a community. Although I'm from Branchburg, I reside in Somerville High School, and that's where my community is. So here we are in my community. But I want to talk about.
I need a name and record.
Oh, thank you. James Meister at 102 Bermuda Drive, Branchburg. So I want to address about the environment, and I'm glad the DSA is here because it's perfect timing. So, firstly, there were a handful of ordinances discussed the past couple of months, specifically the tree ordinance that says if you were to remove a perfectly healthy tree, you must achieve a permit in order to remove that tree. Number two would be stormwater management, updating that policy, as well as a floodplain ordinance that if you build on a 90% likelihood of flooding, that would be outlawed. Again, these laws were passed by the state to be passed by the towns by mandate. My question is, and it kind of remains uncertain why this hasn't been sitting on the agenda to be voted on. It's really important for the environment, especially with the DSA and green infrastructure and making sure we're up to date with providing that we're able to sustain the next storm the best way that we can. And these policies absolutely are that protection. So the agenda is really important. Even if you guys were to disagree with all those policies, that's okay. I think it should still be on the agenda to be heard, discussed, and voted on, just to get things moving, so we get moving on to the next thing if it ends up not working out. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. O'Neill. Now I'm afraid.
Rich O'Neill, 124 West Cliff Street, Somerville. I've got a comment first, then a question. One is, I have a chainsaw if anybody needs it. The question I have, and since Olivia's here, the visits, how are they counted? If you live in the downtown area and you shop in the downtown area, since you already are there, are you visiting or are you already there? How do you get counted? I mean, I just don't know. I'd like to know how you do that. And that's really it. It's probably more of a question for the DSA. But we have lots of people who live downtown. Every time they go out their door, are they a visit or are they never a visit? I don't know. Thank you.
Good question. We'll get to that in a moment. Any other public comment? Yes.
Hi, Zara Heather, 190 West Main Street. I have a question about the citizen leadership forum and volunteer opportunities regarding if, for example, myself is interested in becoming part of a board or committee or commissions and alliances. Who do I address that to? That's all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other public comment? Sir.
Yes, Dave Classic, 215 Woodside Lane, Bridgewater. And in relation to Gina's comment about safety, pedestrian safety, my wife and I and my son have noticed this several times at the intersection of Park Avenue, Veterans Memorial Parkway, and East Main Street. That's such a wide intersection there. People with strollers, dog walkers, or anything like that, you stop for the pedestrian, and you know what's happening. Yeah. So I just want to see if the town can improve the safety for pedestrians at that intersection. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none. Oh. You usually get one shot, but go ahead.
Can I go for round two?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. What the gentleman mentioned prior also reminded me of there are a few crosswalks as well that are very poorly painted and fade away that when I was driving home last meeting I was here, there was someone crossing the street and it was so dark out I could not see the person. I almost hit them. Thankfully, though, I did not, but better lighting specifically on North Bridge Street coming up to the Main Street intersection going this way. Very poorly painted crosswalk. And that also kind of adds to the greater safety aspect of it. The trees are causing the pavement to rise up on Main Street. And yes, repairing that pavement would be beneficial, but better long-term plan of making sure the trees are able to grow while also making sure the space is walkable. That might need to replace the pavers altogether for a more permeable source of pavement. I'm not certain, but a long-term plan for the walkability of Main Street would be really crucial.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Council members: Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Tom Mitchell,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, so we got a whole lot. So let me try to roll through them. I'll go back to the pedestrian interaction and pedestrian safety. There's a whole lot that goes into it. It's lighting, it's road configuration, it's speed, it's the lights of cars today. If anybody else is blinded by them today, I am. And it's a challenge. It's a big challenge. There are steps that we can take. There are steps that we are taking. I was in a meeting with PSE&G probably about 3 months ago, and I had asked if they could take an intersection on Main Street and increase the lighting from above. Because what I'm finding is the lighting is very difficult. The way the car lights are and the existing lights, it's very difficult to see people. And with brighter light from above, you can actually begin to start to see the silhouettes of people. When you're driving on Main Street or even on a side road, and you've got bright lights coming at you, the light just wraps right around people. You can't see them. It just wraps right around them. So PSE&G actually has said that they would put in a test bulb, Kevin, on East Main, actually right by Randy's store, to see if we couldn't light up that intersection, that crosswalk a little bit better so that it's a little more pedestrian friendly. There is a plan from the state to improve the intersection at Grove and East Main. That should be coming, I believe, this year as well. There are some problem spots. The intersection of Park Ave, Vets, and East Main it's wide, and that is a big problem. It's also the intersection of a state highway. So we're to some degree at the mercy of DOT. We can let them know again that they need to take a look at this. And I agree. I mean, it's right next to a park. It's right where our rescue squad comes out, at least for the next few months. But it's a challenge. Maybe there's a way to limit turns coming out of Park Avenue. That may help. I don't know. Or left turn specific lanes. But something we can ask DOT to take another look at. I would also suggest to folks, because the very people that we talk about speeding in town are usually us. And it's people who know Somerville, and they know the cut-throughs, and they know the roads, and they figure they can speed. So I have every road in Somerville is 25 miles an hour now. When that was enacted, and all during this year, I can tell you, half the town thinks 25 or even less is what it should be. And I got another half of town that says, well, I think it should be more than 25. East Main Street doesn't need to be 25. It should be 40 again, or 35. You can't win. So, it's a challenge. So the one thing we can do is enforcement. And as we find hot spots around town, because we do hit hot spots, our police do enforcement. We have a traffic officer during the day who's dedicated, and he goes out and he patrols and stops and clocks people in certain areas that become hot spots. I send them over to the police department. I'm sure some of the other council folks do as well. And then, the chief does let me know what the results are of some of those days where the officer is stationed. And they do give out tickets. It's not as many as you would think. The speed is sometimes a little subjective when you're looking at it. But PD is out there. They are enforcing, and they're good. I wish I could have a police car on every street in Somerville every day, because that would stop all of the problems. We can't do that. So our PD does a good job, and they will continue to do a good job, and they will enforce where they need to enforce. So, but there are things that we can do to mitigate some of that, and visibility is one of them. Tree ordinance. We had this discussion at the planning board the other night, and the tree ordinance, I will tell you, I've held that up. That was me. And I think I've talked to you about this before. And the reason I've held it up is because the way the draft ordinance is written from the state, it calls for the municipality to enforce in its jurisdiction those trees that come down. What the draft ordinance does is it creates jurisdiction on private property. Currently, our ordinance does allow the municipality, if we cut down a tree that's in the public right-of-way, that's in the confines of the public space, public parks, we have to replace that. No problem. That's, what I do have a problem with is government in my backyard and dictating what my gardening should look like. And that, to me, is a really, really big issue. I have an issue with that. So I've asked our planner to look at the legislation behind it. And there isn't a whole lot of legislation. There's a whole lot of rules, but there's not a whole lot of legislation. And my understanding is there actually may be some legislation floating around down in Trenton, Kevin, maybe, about actually eliminating that portion.
Yeah, there was an assembly bill introduced to revert portions of the tree ordinance that was asked by municipalities to adopt. That I believe that is in committee right now in the environmental committee at the state level. I don't know if it'll be heard before the end of the year or not.
Probably not, so that falls squarely on me, and I accept that responsibility. And I just firmly believe that stay out of my backyard. The government doesn't belong in my backyard, dictating what I plant and what I don't, and what I cut down. That's my belief. There may be differences of opinion. I like trees. I'm a firm proponent of planting them in the public space as much as we can. But the last thing I'm going to do is tell my neighbor whether they can keep a tree or cut it down. That's their tree. Let them do with it what they want. So, Planning Board is also taking up the stormwater and floodplain as well. Rich, actually Olivia, Rich had a question regarding how is it counted? Are residents counted as well? Is that? Do you want me to get up? Yeah, please.
The platform is called Placer AI, and it basically is location tracking with cell phone data. So it doesn't know who you are specifically, it just knows that you are coming into the district. It does have the ability to select visitors, employees, and residents because of the amount of times you're going back and forth. I'm a perfect example of an employee because I don't live here. I'm 15, 20 minutes away, so every day I'm making the same motion coming back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's now recognizing somehow that I am an employee and not just a visitor. A visitor is really more of a one-time person that's coming in, doing what they're doing, and then leaving. So it's, again, technology that is a little bit over my head to go into more detail, and I'm sure you don't want to hear it at this hour, but it's interesting technology, and when we have our cell phones everywhere we go, that's pretty much how we figure out the information.
So it's Big Brother's telling us.
Yeah, more or less. It's hard to talk about it because people get a little nervous about it, but it's all good, so that's all.
Thank you. And then in regards to the citizen leadership form, you can fill that out online and submit it.
I did.
You did? Mm-hmm. Okay. What are you looking to get involved with?
Well, I guess that was my follow-up question is am I allowed to fill out more than one?
Absolutely.
area?
Yes. We're always looking for folks to become involved. So,
Library Board of Trustees.
you don't have to tell me. That's, yeah. So, no, I appreciate it very much. And when did you fill that out?
November 6th.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Mayor, we do track them, so they do come electronically. Someone in my office actually does collect them.
Yes.
In many cases, there may not be a particular opening, because a lot of them do get filled out in the beginning of the year. But we keep them on file, and as you have done in the past, you've called me and said, do we have anybody that's interested?
Yes.
But certainly, if people fill that out multiple times, that's perfectly fine with us. It doesn't mess up anything with our system. So just a reminder that the person is still interested is fine.
Excellent. Okay.
And also, could I add that a lot of the meetings, like the Environmental Commission meeting, Board of Health meeting, they're public meetings, so you could attend, get a flavor for what's going on, and then show your interest if you want an appointment later on.
It's a great point, Gina. I would encourage anybody to look at the borough calendar and to attend any of the public meetings that are out there. The Planning Board, the Zoning Board, Recreation, Environmental, Historic, they're all there. Library, please come. It's a public space. We want the interaction. So, all right, ordinances for introduction. Ordinance number 2749 is amending the salary range for employee titles to be paid to certain officers and employees of the Borough of Somerville. This is housekeeping, Kevin. This is just adjusting the minimum, maximum amounts.
Correct.
Okay. Public comment, normally, we do not have to have public comment for an introduction of an ordinance, but it is something that I do as a matter of course. So public comment on 2749 is now open. Hearing none, we'll close 2749, and motion for introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Tom Mitchell,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, 2750, amending Chapter 102, Section 115 of the Land Use Code entitled Special Improvement District. This is intended to revert back to what I think was a different process, which I think is a better approach. And what this does is those businesses within the Special Improvement District, they typically have to comply with Architectural Review Board parameters for their signage. And recently, there was a change made, I think in the past 2 years or so, there was a change made, and it allowed, let me back up a second. How it used to work, the applicant would appear before the ARB, the Architectural Review Board, with their signage. The ARB would either suggest modifications, or they would say, okay, we agree with this. It would then go to the planning board for a final approval, because the planning board has that authority to do. In the past couple of years, it reverted and it allowed the ARB to make those decisions outside of the purview of the council or the planning board. The authority, I believe, really rests with the planning board, so this brings that authority back to the planning board. And all it does is, once the ARB reviews a sign, and it complies with not only zoning regulations, but the architectural regulations that we have, the ARB would then make a recommendation to the planning board, and the planning board would approve it. It has been streamlined. One of the complaints given was that it was taking too long. The ARB does meet by Teams meeting now, or Zoom meeting. So that is beginning to accelerate things a little bit, to make things a little bit more user-friendly for the customer, because we don't want a delay. That was a complaint from a number of folks, I think a couple of years ago, and that's why the council took that action. If we see that there's a stagnation again, we'll address it very quickly. But that's what this is intended to do. So 2750, public comment is open. Hearing none, we'll close 2750. Motion for introduction.
So moved.
Can I make a comment?
We gotta have a second.
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 Okay.
No,
Yes,
good.
comments.
Being liaison to the DSA for many years, we've received many complaints, and I even have someone in the audience that's been waiting well over 6 months, if not longer, to get open. And we did this to simplify things, just to make them easy. I don't think going through two processes is going to speed anything up, and that's why we changed this originally, which was all done with all of us on board.
Understood. And the planning board vetted this as well, because they were a part of that. The planning board does feel that they have the ability to act fairly quickly. There shouldn't be a delay. If you've been waiting we'll talk afterwards. If you've been waiting 6 months, I want to know about that. But the process, the authority really rests with the planning board. Giving that authority to make an approval, I don't know that it really rests with the ARB.
Well,
So-
couldn't they go just directly to the planning board instead of having,
It costs money to go to the planning board.
but they're going to the planning board anyway?
No, the
No?
the referral from the ARB is coming to us. It's
there any-
not them appearing before us.
Is there any way to expedite it?
And that's what I said.
looked in?
So the expediting is done now through, they meet via Teams. They can meet within a day or two of the application being made. So I understand why it was done. I get it. And I probably would agree with you at that time. But I'm looking at this, and my feeling is that the planning board really should be the ultimate arbiter on that. That the authority to approve or not approve rests with them, rather than with 3 or 4 people. So,
I think we need to clarify too, and I'm sure for the public, who the ARB is and what the ARB is made up of. So that way, when people look at this and they keep hearing ARB or Architectural Review Board, they know who those members are or who they represent. So who is the ARB?
And who appoints them?
So the ARB is appointed by the planning board, and it's made up of a number of folks within the district, as well as the planning board. And what this does is it also carves out and allows for a person who's not affiliated with the district as well, just a citizen at large, we'll call it. And it allows for, I guess, some subjective opinion, but based within the zoning guidance of the ordinance.
Do you know who currently is the ARB?
I believe Rich O'Neill is one.
It's a combination. You got representatives of the Board of Adjustment, the Planning Board, and the downtown merchants. It floats. But I'm not aware of any, we don't have a waiting list, so I don't know what's going on here.
No, that's why I said I would like to talk to this gentleman afterwards. Yeah.
So I don't know if everyone could hear that. So it's members of the planning board, zoning, and business representative from the ARB. I mean, the SID, excuse me.
And a
Too many
public.
acronyms.
And a public
And
at large.
currently, yes, now we're gonna add.
We're adding a public
We're
at
adding
large.
a non-affiliated to the SID or the zoning or the planning board public member to sit on the architecture review board, not only for downtown signage, but for fencing, which is what's coming up next.
Yes, correct.
I know the executive director used to be part of that for the DSA, used to be part of that ARB. I know since our last,
Well, that's something we can take up as the year turns. We can talk about who should be on the ARB. Absolutely, yeah.
If I can break in, if they float a little bit, because if somebody's not available, zoning board, I'm not available, say traffic. Somebody else goes. Just make sure he's always.
Yeah, an alternate, we can talk about alternates, yeah.
So I just, because not, again, you're sitting over there. So what Mr. O'Neill said for the public is that the members of the ARB float depending upon the designation from either the zoning board or the planning board as to who can be available to make sure that the process is expedited. Trying to figure out the right way to say that. So it's made up of, it can float, to Mr. O'Neill's point, so that way members can meet that are representative from those organizations to get something passed through.
I think we should have representation from the Historic Advisory Committee. The main function of the ARB is to preserve the character of downtown Somerville and of the whole borough of Somerville, to make sure that
No, it's for downtown.
it's primarily for downtown, but it can get involved beyond the SID.
Well, that's something we can take up, Tom, but right now, we're looking at whether the authority rests with the ARB, or whether the council wants the authority to rest with those that are on the ARB, the Architectural Review Board, or if they want the ARB to be the advisory body to the planning board, and the planning board have the ultimate authority.
Yes.
So that's,
those just pretty much, as long as the ARB says yes, planning board's just a formality.
typically,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I will read a paragraph, the last paragraph under 102-115C says the planning board may request that the ARB review land development applications that are within the redevelopment areas or located outside of the special improvement district.
That's correct. There are times when an applicant before the planning board may refer them, if they agree as a part of their site plan approval, to have Architectural Review Board review.
Yes,
That's not a standard, it's a potential.
the potential, right.
Yeah.
Well, what if it's an office sign outside of the special improvement district?
We don't, then the IRB wouldn't hear that.
It
Yeah,
would
so
only
so
be-
this is the the aesthetic review of conforming signs. So if they're in front of the planning board for an application, that, when I say application, a development application, that all rests with the planning board. It's only the aesthetic review of a conforming sign.
Yes, and also they review building facades.
Well, let's bring this back. The question before council is, do you want as it is now, the authority rests with those on the Architectural Review Board? Or do you want the Architectural Review Board to be an advisory body that makes the recommendation to the planning board, and the planning board will make the ultimate decision?
Could the planning board hold it up?
They could, absolutely, yeah. I've sat there and we have, yeah. Yeah, and that's typically, it's not typical. It's not.
I can tell you from the last 2 years that I've been on the planning board that prior to making the change, recommendations would come in from the ARB and they were approved and things moved along. We didn't have further discussions on the signage once it came from the ARB to the planning board. Because as to Kevin's point, they're usually conforming signs, meaning that they meet the requirements for the SID.
So, I'll say it again. The question before the council is twofold. Well, it's really onefold, yes or a no. Do you want status quo, which is the existing ARB making the ultimate decisions, or do you want the existing ARB to refer to the planning board to make the final decision? So that's what this does. So a vote in the affirmative will change the ordinance to allow it to come back to the planning board for final approval. So let's go with roll call.
Yeah, it's an introduction, though.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
The council members, Teresa Bonner,
No.
Glenn Denny,
No.
Tom Mitchell,
No.
Randy Pitts,
No.
Gina Stravic,
Abstain.
Roger Vroom.
No.
Well, let's strike that from the agenda. All right. 2751 is amending Chapter 102, Section 116 of the Land Use entitled Conditional Uses, and Section 120 entitled Special Regulations for Certain Uses and Structures. This ordinance and the one after it address specifically fencing on corner lots. We had a resident come to a planning board meeting very upset because they could not put a fence up on their property to give them privacy. Corner lots typically have 2 front yards, and sometimes it makes it extremely difficult under, I'll call it existing blanket zoning, to allow for fencing to be put up. It's either the setbacks are too great, it becomes a punishment for living on a corner. And the planning board looked at this and took some great pains and went through the process of trying to eliminate the punishment aspect of living on a corner, and if you want to put up screening or a fence to give yourself some privacy. So the planning board came up, you've had a chance to read the ordinance. Planning board has come up with what they think is a good plan. I think it's a good plan. We vetted it over the course of 2 or 3 meetings, right, Roger? Yeah. And we came to something which we think works extremely well. It does not punish a homeowner for living on a corner. It allows them some privacy, and it also allows them the aspect, if their fence doesn't fully comply with the existing ordinance regarding fencing or screening, they can take it to the planning board or the zoning board without any additional cost. And it would then go, or it would go to the ARB for a review. It took a while for us to get to this point, but it makes a lot of sense from the homeowner's perspective. I live on a corner, I can tell you, and I'm not looking for a fence, I already have one. But it's very frustrating if you live on a corner, deciding which front yard you want to use. And then if you have to go to the zoning board to put up a simple fence, now the costs become extremely prohibitive. And so the planning board took a look at it, developed this ordinance, and this kind of puts it to rest, and it allows a homeowner to have a little bit of privacy who lives on the corner. So, public comment on 2751 is open. Hearing none, close 2751. Motion for introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Mayor, I did notice in the text that you guys have, there's some notes in there from our attorney. I'm sorry, from our land use attorney. That will be removed in the, obviously
Yes,
the
in the
text.
final. Okay. All right, roll call.
Council members, Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny.
Yes.
Tom Mitchell. Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, and 2752 is amending Chapter 102, Section 117 of the Land Use Code entitled General Regulations. This creates the site triangle for a corner lot, and it shows where fencing and/or shrubbery can be placed, so that, and it actually is very timely with what folks were talking about before, and people not being able to see as they drive. This creates a visible site triangle when you come to any corner, so you can actually see any traffic or pedestrians coming in a better method. 2752, public comment is open. Hearing none, close 2752. Motion for introduction.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, question. Why, the last paragraph there, eliminate the following item, no fence or shrubbery shall be permitted to encroach, et cetera.
Going back to Kevin's point, some of the things that were in the, not so much the draft, from our land use, from the planning board land use representation, it just got left in here. That when, to the point before, when this comes back for adoption, that will be stricken. It will be gone. It just wasn't, it's a misprint.
We're not eliminating the requirement that they not block the sidewalk with shrubs or tree branches.
This is showing that number one is taking care of that.
Yeah, if you look at number 1, it addresses that.
That is correct, Tom. We are not.
Number one takes care of it, so two is a redundancy.
Well, number one is taking care of trees and shrubs that block the view through the triangle, the
Yes.
corner triangle. But paragraph 2 wasn't specific to that triangle, and it had to do with branches that were less than 8 feet high over the sidewalk, or shrubbery that encroached on the sidewalk.
Well, this talks about, so it talks about the right of way, but it does talk about, so the entire section is discussing the site triangle. So all of that would be considered part of the site triangle.
Further discussion. Roll call.
Council members, Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny.
Yes.
Tom Mitchell.
Yes.
Randy Pitts.
Yes.
Gina Stravic.
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Okay, consent resolutions. Any pulled off for further discussion?
Yes. The one on the radios in the grant. I had a question.
Hang on. Which one's the radios, Kevin? Do you know offhand?
I'm sorry, was it radios you said?
Yeah.
344.
Correct.
All right, 344. And you had one other one, Gina?
No.
Okay, all right, so we'll pull 344. All right, 333 is authorizing the sale of surplus property being associated flood damage equipment through municipal, in accordance with state cooperative pricing system. 334 is authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for professional engineering design, survey, inspection, and contract administration services for Lincoln Avenue Improvement Project, including Cleveland Street between Union Ave and Halsey Street, Halsey between Post, and Cleveland Street with Greenman Peterson, Inc. 335 is authorizing the award of a non-fair and open contract for environmental engineering services, Geosyntec Consultants. 336 is authorizing the Borough of Somerville to accept the sub-grant award of the federal fiscal year 2024 of Emergency Management Performance Grant and Emergency Management Agency Assistance. 337 is approving the Fire Department Lights Parade on December 7th at 5:30 p.m. until 10 p.m. at 170 East Main Street, actually throughout town. 338 is a refund tax overpayment known address as 15 Van Doren Avenue, Block 5, Lot 11.01. 339 is awarding a national contract through Omnia Partner through Eisner-Amper Managed Technology Services, DBA Computer Systems and Methods, in the amount of $161,010 for emergency services facility. 340 is appointing Danielle Stashik to the position of construction coordinator. 341 is appointing Denise Van Horn to serve on the Library Board of Trustees as Board of Education liaison. 342 is amending Resolution 24-1021-299, approving person-to-person and place-to-place expansion, transfer, of alcohol beverage control license, as noted by Verdicchio Corp., located at 122, 126, and 128 West Main Street, to Defina Restaurant Corp. 343 is authorizing transfer of funds to fund certain line items in the 2024 budget. 345 is authorizing the Department of Public Works to perform a leaves pickup and disposal program at the Somerville Cemetery. 346 is appointing Lisa Werner to serve on the Regional Center Partnership Committee. 347 is authorizing the execution of a First Amendment to the redevelopment agreement between the Borough of Somerville and A&A Somerville Urban Renewal concerning the proposed dedication of property located at Block 50, lots 13 and 14 on the borough's official tax map. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Roll call.
Council members: Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Tom Mitchell,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, 344 is approving the use of Somerset County Improvement Authority to finance the procurement of radios in 2025. Do we have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Discussion.
Can the rescue squad be included in that?
I don't know. I don't know how their squad is handling their radios. So we had a meeting with, the police department's done already. The fire department, they applied for a grant last year. The fire department, we were unsuccessful with that grant. We had a meeting last week with the Improvement Authority for Somerset County, with all the municipalities, to start gathering up how many municipalities or fire departments or anything else, or police departments, I actually think police is completed, to see what that number would roll about, to identify. So this is the first step in the process of identifying how many radios we're talking about for the municipalities. I could check with the squad as to how they plan on upgrading their radios in 2026.
Well, they're looking for money as well. They did get denied on the same grant the fire department did.
Okay.
I had gone to the EDA workshop that Olivia referred to see if we could get some money through that program, and I provide them with another source of grants. So, I mean, what am I hearing you saying, that this isn't like the financing of, this is just calculations right now?
It is, because you would later on have to approve the agreement, because right now we don't know the interest rate, we don't know the dollar amount, so forth. Okay. So this is more of the embryonic stage, but moving quickly, because it takes several months for the procurement process to take place. This has to be done for 2026. All the emergency services have been notified almost 2 years ago.
Right, they're aware of that.
I think with the squad, we could certainly chat with them to see how, I'm assuming that they might have the ability to combine with us. I just have to understand how that would work financially with the Improvement Authority, whether we fund them and they pay us, or they pay directly to the Improvement Authority. I'm not too sure, but if they don't have another funding source, but I'll have the opportunity, I'll chat with them to see what their plans are.
Appreciate that.
Sure.
Okay.
Is this upgrade of radios, you say it's required, is this being required by the FCC?
It's being required by Somerset County, who it's a mandate by them. If we're not in the system, that's okay. We just can't use them for dispatching. We have no intention of leaving them for dispatching. The police are already upgraded, so I think that the plan now is to get fire upgraded within the next 24 months and so forth. But I couldn't speak whether it's an FCC requirement, but it's certainly a requirement of the dispatching service we use.
Okay.
All right, roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Tom Mitchell,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
All right, bills and vouchers, Roger.
So tonight's number is a little larger than usual, as it is our fourth quarter. So our fourth quarter payments are going out to the various entities. So for example, library, Somerset County Library, a payment is going out of $170,022.39. Our county taxes is $1,254,352.54. Open space tax, $135,061.99, and our school payment is $6,778,032.75, to a total of $8,337,469.67. The borough's, that's not the total number for tonight, but the borough's portion for tonight is $1,020,275.31. So our total that I moved tonight to pay for bills and vouchers, $9,357,744.98.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Council members Teresa Bonner,
Yes.
Glenn Denny,
Yes.
Tom Mitchell,
Yes.
Randy Pitts,
Yes.
Gina Stravic,
Yes.
Roger Vroom.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell, I will ask for a motion for adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.